In the bustling streets of New York City, where dreams were as fleeting as the autumn leaves, lived Alex and Sophia. They had been together for 8 years, a bond forged in the fires of college romance. Alex was a struggling software engineer, pouring his heart into a startup that promised the world but delivered only sleepless nights and empty bank accounts. Sophia, with her sharp wit and radiant smile, worked as a marketing executive, supporting him through every setback. They shared a tiny apartment in Brooklyn, dreaming of a future with a house, kids, and endless vacations. "We'll make it together," Sophia would whisper during their late-night talks, her hand intertwined with his. But as the years dragged on, Sophia's patience wore thin. Alex's startup hit roadblock after roadblock. Investors pulled out, code bugs seemed insurmountable, and bills piled up like unspoken resentments. One evening, after another failed pitch meeting, Alex came home to find Sophia distant, her eyes avoiding his. "I can't do this anymore," she said, her voice cold as the winter wind outside. "You're going nowhere, Alex. I need stability, security, a life." It turned out she had been seeing Marcus, a wealthy venture capitalist who frequented her office events. Marcus offered her everything Alex couldn't: luxury cars, penthouse dinners, and promises of a lavish wedding. "He's got money, real money," Sophia confessed without a hint of remorse. "I love you, but love doesn't pay the rent." She packed her bags that night, leaving behind only a note: "I'm sorry, but I deserve better." Alex was devastated, his world crumbling like the code he couldn't fix. He spent months in isolation, drowning in heartbreak and ramen noodles. Sophia's life with Marcus began like a whirlwind romance scripted for a glossy magazine. It started innocently enough, or so she told herself, at a corporate mixer where champagne flowed freely and ambitions clashed like cymbals. Marcus, with his tailored suits and easy charm, was the epitome of success. A 35-year-old venture capitalist who had backed unicorns and cashed out millions. He spotted her across the room, her laughter cutting through the networking buzz, and made his move with a line that was equal parts flattery and promise. "You look like someone who's tired of waiting for the world to catch up." Their first date was extravagant, a helicopter ride over the city skyline, followed by dinner at a Michelin-starred restaurant where the wine list alone cost more than Alex's monthly rent. Marcus dazzled her with stories of his travels, skiing in the Alps, yachting in Monaco, closing deals in Tokyo boardrooms. "Life's too short for ordinary," he said, clinking his glass against hers. Sophia felt alive, seen in a way she hadn't with Alex's endless debugging sessions and budget date nights. She ignored the red flags, the way his eyes wandered to other women, the constant phone notifications he silenced with a smirk. Within weeks, she moved into his Upper East Side penthouse, a sprawling space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. Gone were the cramped Brooklyn days. Now it was marble countertops, a personal chef, and weekends at the Hamptons. Marcus showered her with gifts, designer handbags, jewelry that sparkled under the chandelier lights, even a sports car she barely knew how to drive. "You're my lucky charm," he'd say, pulling her close in the king-sized bed. Sex was passionate, urgent, a far cry from the tender intimacy she'd shared with Alex. But beneath the glamour, cracks began to show. Marcus worked long hours, or so he claimed. Late nights turned into absences, excuses piling up like unread emails. Sophia found lipstick stains on collars, unfamiliar perfume lingering in the air. When she confronted him, he'd laugh it off. "Baby, it's business. Networking, you know how it is." He gaslit her expertly, making her doubt her instincts. "You're being paranoid. I chose you, didn't I?" And for a while, she believed him, clinging to the lifestyle that validated her choice to leave Alex. She posted curated photos on social media, brunches with influencers, galas in gowns, each one a subtle jab at her past, though she never tagged Alex. But the fairy tale unraveled faster than she anticipated. About 6 months in, the fights escalated. Marcus's temper flared over trivial things, a delayed dinner, her questions about his finances. He started controlling her, insisting on approving her outfits, monitoring her phone. "I pay for everything, I get a say," he'd snap. Sophia's job suffered. She missed promotions because she was too busy playing the perfect trophy girlfriend. Friends drifted away, including Elena, who had tried to warn her. "He's not who you think, Soph. Come back to reality." The breaking point came on their 1-year anniversary. Sophia had planned a surprise trip to Paris, dipping into her savings to book first-class tickets. But Marcus canceled last minute, citing a crisis at work. That night, she discovered the truth. Photos on his hidden phone app showing him with a younger model in Vegas, complete with casino receipts and hotel bills. When she confronted him, screaming in the penthouse that once felt like a castle, he didn't deny it. "You're fun, Sophia, but you're not endgame material. Too needy, too ordinary." He kicked her out that very evening, changing the locks and wiring her a paltry severance that barely covered her moving costs. Worse, he had convinced her to invest in one of his surefire ventures, siphoning her savings into a fund that mysteriously failed. Broke, humiliated, and crashing on a cousin's couch, Sophia scrolled through Alex's rising success stories online. The man she had discarded was now untouchable, while she was left with nothing but echoes of Marcus's empty promises. Regret settled in like a fog, thick and unrelenting, as she realized the price of her betrayal. Not just lost love, but a shattered sense of self. It was in that low point that she reached out to Alex, hoping for redemption. In the aftermath of Sophia's betrayal, Alex found himself adrift in a sea of solitude. His Brooklyn apartment, once filled with laughter and shared dreams, now echoed with the ghosts of what had been. He buried himself in work, coding through the nights until his eyes burned and his fingers ached, but the pain in his chest refused to fade. It was during one of those endless evenings, about 3 months after Sophia left, that Elena reached out. Elena had always been on the periphery of their lives, a college friend of Sophia's who had tagged along to group hangouts, movie nights, and the occasional double date. She was the quiet one, the observer with a dry sense of humor, and a knack for diffusing tension with a well-timed quip. Back then, Alex had appreciated her as a friend. Reliable, insightful, and refreshingly drama-free compared to Sophia's more extroverted circle. But they had never been particularly close. Elena was Sophia's confidant, not his. The reconnection started innocently enough. Elena sent a simple message on social media. "Hey Alex, I heard about what happened. I'm really sorry. If you need someone to talk to or just vent over bad coffee, I'm around." It wasn't pity. It was genuine concern from someone who had seen the cracks in Sophia's facade long before the breakup. Alex hesitated for days before responding. He wasn't ready for sympathy, but isolation was wearing him down. "Coffee sounds okay," he typed back. "Tomorrow." They met at a nondescript cafe in Williamsburg, the kind with mismatched chairs and overpriced lattes. Elena arrived first, her dark hair tied back in a casual ponytail, wearing jeans and a cozy sweater that spoke of comfort over style. She didn't bombard him with questions. Instead, she ordered them both Americanos and started with small talk about a ridiculous viral video she'd seen. Alex found himself chuckling for the first time in weeks. Gradually, the conversation shifted. "Sophia was my friend," Elena admitted, stirring her coffee thoughtfully. "But what she did, it wasn't right. You deserved better than a note and a ghosting." Alex opened up more than he intended, about the startup struggles, the endless rejections, the way Sophia's words had cut deeper than any failed pitch. Elena listened without interruption, her brown eyes steady and empathetic. She shared her own stories, a recent job loss in graphic design, the pressure of living in a city that demanded constant hustle. "We're all just trying to figure it out," she said. "But you're building something real. Don't let her take that from you." By the end of the afternoon, Alex felt a spark of lightness he hadn't known was missing. They parted with a promise to grab coffee again soon. What began as weekly meetups evolved into a genuine bond. Elena had a way of cutting through Alex's self-doubt with practical advice and unwavering encouragement. When he hit a major bug in his AI app that threatened to derail everything, she showed up at his apartment with takeout and her laptop. "I'm no coder," she said, rolling up her sleeves, "but I can help brainstorm user interfaces. Let's make this intuitive." They spent hours sketching wireframes on napkins, her design expertise complementing his technical know-how. Elena's fresh perspective, focusing on user empathy rather than just algorithms, helped him refine the app into something truly innovative. As weeks turned into months, their connection deepened beyond support. They discovered shared passions, late-night indie film marathons, where they debate plot twists until dawn, weekend hikes in upstate New York, escaping the city's chaos for trails lined with autumn foliage. Elena introduced him to her world of art, gallery openings, and street murals, while Alex shared his love for tech podcasts and gadget tinkering. She laughed at his terrible puns, and he admired her quiet strength, the way she pursued freelance design gigs with relentless optimism despite rejections. Elena's support was a quiet revolution in Alex's life. When his startup finally won that pivotal competition, she was the first person he called, her excited squeal echoing through the phone. "I knew you could do it," she shouted. She celebrated his milestones without envy, helping him navigate the sudden influx of investors with mock interviews and wardrobe advice. "You clean up nice," she'd tease, straightening his tie before a big meeting. In return, Alex encouraged her career pivot. He connected her with contacts in the tech design space, and soon she landed a role at a promising firm. Their dynamic was balanced, mutual upliftment, not dependency. The shift from friendship to love happened gradually, like code compiling line by line into a flawless program. It started with lingering glances during their hikes, hands brushing as they passed water bottles. One rainy evening, after a particularly grueling day for both, they ended up at Elena's cozy queen's apartment. She cooked pasta while he set the table, the air filled with garlic and easy conversation. As thunder rumbled outside, Alex looked at her across the candlelit table and realized how much she had become his anchor. "Elena," he said softly, "you've been my rock through all this. I don't know what I'd do without you." She set down her fork, her cheeks flushing. "You've been mine too, Alex, more than you know." In that moment, vulnerability bridged the gap. He leaned in, and their first kiss was tentative, then deepening with the weight of unspoken feelings. It wasn't fireworks like in the movies. It was warmth, a homecoming after a long storm. From there, love bloomed naturally. They took things slow, respecting the scars from Alex's past. Elena never pressured. She understood betrayals linger. Instead, they built trust through small acts. Surprise notes in lunch bags, weekend getaways to quiet cabins where they dreamed aloud about the future. Alex fell for her kindness, her intelligence, the way she challenged him without tearing him down. Elena loved his resilience, his passion, the gentle way he made her feel seen, not as a side character, but as the lead in her own story. By the time Alex proposed, 6 months after that first kiss, it felt inevitable. On a rooftop overlooking the city, echoing the gala where revenge would later unfold, he got down on one knee. "Elena, you didn't just help me rebuild. You showed me what real partnership is. Will you marry me?" Tears in her eyes, she said yes, and in that yes was the promise of a love forged in support, bonded in shared trials, and destined to outshine any shadow of the past. Fate, however, had a twist in store for Alex's success. In his despair, he threw himself into his work with reckless abandon. He refined his app, an innovative AI platform for personalized education, and entered it into a global tech competition. Against all odds, it won. Investors flooded in, and within a year, his startup skyrocketed to a valuation of millions. Alex became a tech mogul, featured in Forbes, with a sleek Manhattan loft and a fleet of cars that turned heads. The boy who once scraped by was now the man everyone wanted to know. Sophia heard about it, of course. Social media buzzed with Alex's success, and regret gnawed at her like a persistent itch. Broke and alone, Sophia reached out to Alex, her messages dripping with feigned nostalgia. "I've missed you. Can we talk? You were always the one." Alex smiled at his phone, a plan forming in his mind. He agreed to meet, but not alone. He invited her to a gala he was hosting, where the elite mingled under crystal chandeliers. The revenge scene unfolded with meticulous precision, like a perfectly debugged program finally going live. Alex had known Sophia would show up the moment the gala invitation landed in her inbox, courtesy of a mutual acquaintance who owed him a favor. He'd made sure the event was impossible to ignore. Black tie mandatory, held at the rooftop ballroom of the new tech tower his company owned, with panoramic views of Manhattan glittering like a promise he'd finally kept. He arrived early with Elena on his arm. She wore a deep emerald gown that hugged her figure, the color a subtle nod to the one Sophia had once claimed as her signature back in college. Elena's laugh was genuine as they greeted guests. Her hand rested lightly on Alex's forearm, a quiet claim that needed no announcement. They moved through the crowd like they belonged there, because now they did. Sophia arrived fashionably late, hair styled in the loose waves Alex used to love running his fingers through, makeup flawless, but eyes carrying the faint strain of someone who'd been checking her reflection too many times. She wore a red dress, bold, expensive-looking, probably bought on credit. Her smile was practiced, the same one she'd flashed at networking events when she was still pretending the future included him. She spotted Alex almost immediately. He stood near the champagne tower, laughing at something Elena whispered. Sophia's steps faltered for half a second before she straightened her spine and glided over. "Alex," she said, voice honeyed with surprise that didn't reach her eyes. "Look at you. This place, it's incredible. You really did it." He turned slowly, expression calm, almost polite. "Sophia, glad you could make it." Her gaze flicked to Elena, recognition dawning like a slow crash. "Elena, oh my God, I haven't seen you in forever." She leaned in for an air kiss, the kind that never quite touched skin. "You two know each other." Elena smiled sweetly, the smile of someone who had already won. "We've known each other a long time, actually. Since college. You introduced us, remember?" Sophia's laugh was thin. "Right, small world." Alex let the silence stretch just long enough to feel uncomfortable. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. He opened it casually, as if showing off a new gadget. The ring inside caught every light in the room. 3 carats, emerald cut, flanked by smaller stones that sparkled like captured stars. Elena extended her left hand without hesitation. Alex slid the ring onto her finger with deliberate care, the motion intimate, final. Sophia's face froze. "You're engaged." "Fiancés," Alex corrected, voice even. "Wedding in 6 weeks. Maldives, private island. Elena's always wanted to get married on the beach at sunset." Elena tilted her head, studying Sophia with genuine curiosity rather than malice. "You should see the venue photos. It's breathtaking. We're keeping it small, only close friends and family." The word close landed like a slap. Sophia's cheeks flushed beneath her foundation. She opened her mouth, closed it, then forced another smile. "Congratulations. Really, you both deserve happiness." Alex met her eyes directly for the first time. No anger, no triumph, just cool clarity. "Funny thing about deserving things, Sophia. Sometimes people think they do, so they take shortcuts. Then life has a way of course-correcting." He paused, letting the words settle. "Marcus didn't work out, I hear. Shame. I always thought he was more flash than substance." Sophia flinched visibly. "That's private." "Is it?" Alex raised an eyebrow. "You made your choices very public when you left. Social media posts, new apartment tour, that yacht weekend. Hard to miss." A few nearby guests glanced over, sensing the shift in energy. Sophia's hand tightened around her clutch. "I was young. Stupid, I thought." "You thought money was the upgrade," Alex finished for her, voice low enough that only the 3 of them could hear. "And maybe it was for a while, but upgrades depreciate fast when the foundation's rotten." Elena stepped closer to Alex, her body language protective yet composed. "We should let you mingle, Sophia. Lots of people here tonight. Networking opportunities, right? That's always been your thing." Sophia's eyes darted between them, Alex's steady gaze, Elena's quiet strength, the ring that now felt like a spotlight on her mistakes. She swallowed hard. I should go find the bar." As she turned to leave, Alex called after her softly, almost kindly. "Sophia." She stopped, shoulders rigid. "If you ever need anything, advice on rebuilding, starting over, just reach out." A beat. "To Elena. She's better at second chances than I am." Sophia didn't look back. She walked away faster than necessary, heels clicking against marble like retreating gunfire. Alex exhaled, the tension leaving his frame. Elena squeezed his hand. "You okay?" He looked down at her, really looked, and the last shadow lifted from his face. "Better than okay, I'm free." They rejoined the party. Laughter returned. Toasts were made. And somewhere across the room, Sophia stood alone by a window, watching the city lights blur through unshed tears, realizing too late that the best revenge isn't loud or cruel. It's simply choosing better and letting the contrast speak for itself. In the following weeks, Sophia watched from afar as Alex and Elena's wedding photos flooded the internet. A picturesque ceremony in the Maldives, filled with joy and genuine affection. Alex had his revenge, not through cruelty, but through living well. He built an empire with Elena by his side, while Sophia faded into obscurity, a cautionary tale of greed over love. In the end, betrayal's shadow lifted, replaced by the warm light of true partnership. Alex learned that revenge wasn't about destruction. It was about rising above, with the right person holding your hand.